Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to give you the winning ingredients for your DraftKings lineups, for your fantasy football leagues, for football in general. Welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetsJetsD. All right, welcome back. This will be our first installment of Week 1 Waiver Wire. Waiver wire. All right, this was a crazy week 1. Tons of insanity right before kickoff. Zach Moss isn't playing. He's a healthy scratch. Trey Sermon's a healthy scratch, which they kind of needed a running back. That's funny that Mostert gets injured, but just insanity for week 1. I know some people might have made some mistakes. Now you get a first look at these teams and who's playing, who's getting snaps, who's benched, why is Ayuk not playing, and so many crazy things that are going on. And now we finally get to look at our waiver wires and see who we can grab. Is it worth spending up your fab budget, or is it worth using your number 1 waiver wire claim on some of these guys that are going to be available for you for week 1, because you don't know what's going to be the next big injury, which is going to happen. It's 100% going to happen. You don't know what the next big thing is going to be. You just have to trust that this situation currently will be the one to take your team to that next level. All right. I'm going to give you 5 guys who I really are looking at in the waiver wire priority. And the first one is going to start off with the San Francisco 49ers. Like I told you before, right before kickoff, Shanahan threw a lot of wrenches to everyone. No one knew about Trey Sermon. This came late, thanks to some beat writers. Trey Sermon was a healthy scratch. Come to find out, Brandon Ayuk was downgraded. Not downgraded, but he was subjugated to being the 3rd, 4th wide receiver behind Trent Sherfield, who got a touchdown. And it was an absolute chaos in that first quarter when Raheem Mostert does what he usually does and gets injured in that first quarter. He started out with the first 2 carries, 2 for 20, then got injured. That left only 2 starting running backs left. Elijah Mitchell, rookie in the 6th round, and JaMychal Hasty, who's been there for a couple years, bouncing around, not really a solid running back. But what happened was Elijah Mitchell became the elite number 1 back for the 49ers for that game. All right. So this is going to be the first guy we're going to go over. Elijah Mitchell should be a guy you should grab in your waiver wires if you have high priority, if you're going to spend up some fab. If we're spending fab, I'm not putting a whole $100 in there. Whatever your fab is, I'm not putting 100%. I'm putting 25 to 30% of your fab budget on Elijah Mitchell, because there's still question marks. It's not like he's going to be the number 1 and only back. Obviously, next week, they're going to have to activate Trey Sermon, and they're going to be put in a situation where they're going to have 3 running backs. They can't run 2, and they can also use 2 for special teams as well. So it'll be dumb if they only started 2. They need to start 3 running backs, activate 3 running backs. This is the Kyle Shanahan offense. They use a myriad of running backs. All right. So Trey Sermon will be back with Mostert out for 8 weeks on the IR, probably for the rest of the season, because we don't know how he's going to come back from that. He's just going to get injured again. All right. So be careful with Elijah Mitchell. He should be thrusted in a great opportunity, but he will split carries with the likes of Trey Sermon, who was their 3rd round pick, not their 6th round pick in Elijah Mitchell. All right. Be very careful on that. That's why I said 25%. All right. Next guy we are going to talk about. This is going to be about the Denver Broncos wide receiver Jerry Jeudy going out with a high ankle sprain. He was on a very high toward pace, 6 of 72 in the first 3 quarters, gets injured, and then It leaves the wide receiver position to KJ Hamler, Tim Patrick, and Cortland Sutton. Obviously, it's a big boost for Cortland Sutton. Now he can really look like the number one in this offense for the Denver Broncos and Teddy Bridgewater. But since Jerry Jeudy, who's a very nice intermediate and short route wide receiver, very good route runner, this is going. I think the winner out of this situation, because they use KJ Hamler more of a gadget guy and a deep guy. I think intermediate and short routes will be Tim Patrick. So go get you some Tim Patrick. I'll put 35 or 40%. No, I'll keep it around 25 because we still have Jerry Jeudy coming back in 4 to 6 weeks. All right. So temper your expectations on him. Tim Patrick is a fill-in, but he is going to be very, very productive. KJ Hamler is the deep and gadget guy. The dude that's going to be intermediate will be Tim Patrick. And he done this before with Drew Lock. If you're just looking at the past seasons, now he gets to do it with Teddy Bridgewater. I'm not going to be surprised if he continues to produce. He had 4 receptions, 39 yards, and 1 TD. Okay? Teddy was already looking at him before Jerry Jeudy was even injured. So this is a boost to him. I'm taking a boost to him. And you got Albert and Noah Fant splitting work at the tight end spot. All right? So go get you some Tim Patrick over KJ Hamler. Next is going to be this one. This one I did not see coming at all. At all. No one drafted Mark Ingram. It caught me off guard so much that when I just clicked over to this tab, I forgot about the guy I was talking about. Mark Ingram took over the whole backfield. It was all about David Johnson. People thought about it was all about Philip Lindsay coming over. People thought about, but the leader of the Texans in carries was Mark Ingram with 26 carries, 85 yards, and 1 TD. A horrible average, but he got the volume, and that's what you really want in your running backs. Not saying this is going to be a smash every week play. This was a rare scenario when you have the Houston Texans in a lead role and you're trying to run out the clock, give the ball to your running back. A lot of these situations, we're going to see the Texans down and have to pass the ball. So this one, you take it with a grain of salt. You go and get him if you can. He's not going to be my number one waiver, but someone who you can consider in some very desperate situations. He did not get any receptions in that receiving game. David Johnson got 3 of 18. Rex Burkhead got 2 targets. They really spread the wealth around. So this is still a running back by committee. But this particular game script is if they're up or they need to smash mouth run the football, it's going to be Mark Ingram, all right? But be careful with that. I'll put 10% in fab if I'm going for him, all right? Next is going to be the Arizona Cardinals' Christian Kirk. And a lot of people did not draft Christian Kirk. A lot of people drafted A.J. Green. And if you didn't know, A.J. Green is totally washed up. And I said this in the videos prior. If you go back to the NFC West divisional video, I literally said, Hopkins number 1, number 2 is Christian Kirk, and I really, really like Rondell Moore. Bet money I said that. All right? So, A.J. Green is washed up. You saw what happened in Cincinnati. T. Higgins overtook him. Tyler Boyd overtook him. Now they're going to take his carcass all the way to Arizona and think, oh, A.J. Green's a name. He's a name. Okay? He's a name. No explosiveness. He's a shell of himself. Do not hamper with Christian Kirk and Rondell Moore. You have 2 very good wide receivers right there. Christian Kirk had a nice solid year last year. Coming into his own, he was a touchdown guy, and as you can see, he's another touchdown guy this year. 5 of 72 TDs, competing with DeAndre Hopkins against the Tennessee Titans. Poor secondary. You know who you are with your poor secondary. You know who you are, Chris. All right. We love Christian Kirk. Go and get him. I'm going to put a fab budget about 40% on him because this is a very high volume passing attack. And you got Christian Kirk. who's very, very explosive. Him and Rondell Moore match it with DeAndre Hopkins, and you have 3 solid wide receivers for a team that throws it at a very high value. All right. Last but not least, and this one is a gem. This one is a gem in particular. I love this guy. Took him in one draft, and you get when you make these kind of picks, people are just like, who? What? No. That means you haven't been paying attention. We're going with Kenneth Gainwell. You gotta go get LaShawn McCoy Jr. The reason why Antonio Gibson was a wide receiver at Memphis was because Kenneth Gainwell was that running back. He was that guy, if you didn't know. So Kenneth Gainwell comes into this situation,
and a whole lot more.
and
So what are you waiting for?
a lot of people were all over Boston Scott. A lot of people were, saying Miles Sanders obviously is the number one, which he is, but he's going to get all the work. No. What they came out and did was gave nothing to Boston Scott, and they used Kenneth Gainwell not only in the end in that fourth quarter, but in that first half. And what you didn't know was not only did he score 1 touchdown, he scored 2 touchdowns. But they called it back off a penalty. In the second quarter, he had a receiving touchdown from Jalen Hurts, and it was called back by penalty. You could go in the play-by-play. I already looked and saw. Kenneth Gainwell is being used at a high rate right behind Miles Sanders. If he messes up just a little bit, they are waiting. They cannot wait to use Kenneth Gainwell. This man is very, very explosive. I need you guys to stash him, and you could maybe he might carve out a role where he can be used on a weekly basis. Maybe a Nyheim Hines type of running back that you're going to have. Now, go get you some Kenneth Gainwell, all right? I think that's the last gem out of the 5. If you want to throw in some, maybe some notable mentions, DJ Dallas, because of Rashad Penny is going to be out. And you know how Chris Carson usually gets injured. And then last but not least, Zach Pascal looks like the number 1 wide receiver on with Michael Pittman falling back just a little bit. Zach Pascal was able to take over and had a very impressive outing. All right. So that is going to be our week 1 waiver. All right. My favorite out of all 5. Be careful about Elijah Mitchell. Make sure you watch and have some Trey Sermon, but he was drafted. Don't drop Trey Sermon. Don't drop him. All right. Next guy, we love Christian Kirk. We love Tim Patrick. Very questionable about Mark Ingram. And we 100% love Kenneth Gainwell. Go get you some of him. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back very soon with another video. And also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetsJetsD. Peace out.